All right, year nine. So today what I need you to look at is we're going to be looking at simple interest. And we're going to start off with the formula, and it's right here on our page. And you can see I've got some annotations around. So before I go any further, I want you to pause the video, copy all those annotations down, and then we'll restart the video. Great, guys. Now that you've got that copy down, let's break down what each individual thing is. So I stands for interest. And interest, if you want to think about it, is the profit that you earn from some kind of investment. Now, the investment can work in lots of ways. It could be when I borrowed money from the bank invested money into me, so they charge me interest to make their profit. If I get a whole bunch of money and I put it in the bank account and just leave it there, well, I make profit off that money being there. The bank adds money to my investment. And that money that gets added to someone's investment, either way, it's called interest. So that's what that I stands for. P is principal. Now, when we talk about principal and we're talking about finance, we're talking about a sum of money that you are going to put into something. It's usually I'm going to put that into a bank account to earn money, or I'm borrowing principal from the bank. I'm borrowing money. So that's what that P stands for. R is our interest rate, and our interest rate is most often given to us in a per year situation. You quite often see it have PA written at the end of it. So we're going to look for our interest rate, and we always want our interest rate to be expressed as a decimal. So we're going to end up dividing it by 100. And finally, there's that N at the end of the formula, and N stands for the number of years or number of time periods that I've invested my money into this account. So let's jump into an example. Color coded it for you here. So the example says calculate the amount of simple interest charged on $5,000 for 3 years at 7% per annum. That PA word, that PA there meaning per year, annum meaning annual year. So let's look at our formula. So what we want to do, we're going to write down our I, our P, our R, and our N. And once we've got that written down, we're going to go through the question. We're going to find where it is. You can see highlighted in purple, the question tells me to calculate the amount of simple interest. So I've put a question mark there because that's what I've been asked to find. The principal, well, when I have a look at that, it says interest charged on $5,000. The interest is getting calculated based on that amount. So that's the amount that was invested. My interest rate is that 7% per annum, and it was invested for 3 years. So I've got all that information written down, and you can see what we've done with our interest rate here. We've gotten 7%. We've divided it by 100 to get us our decimal. All we need to do now is plug it into our formula. So always, let's write down the formula first. And once we've got the formula written down, we substitute our values. This is what we type on our calculator. So that becomes our working out. That's the important part I need to see you have written down. And our answer gives us $1,050. So that meant that 5,000 earned $1,050 worth of interest in 3 years. But this was only part A of a question. Let's look at part B. Part B said, if this was a loan, what is the total to be repaid? Well, our total to be repaid, I need to pay all of the $5,000 plus all the interest that we've been asked to pay for it. So I need to add those two amounts together, and you can see that I've got that written there. The total is 5,000 plus 1,050, and that gives us $6,050. What I need you to do now is I need you to pause and copy that information down into your book as well. Great, year 9. Now that you've got that copied down, you have a series of worksheets that you need to complete. Each worksheet is going to look at one part of those skills that we just looked at in those questions. So here you can see the first bunch of questions, the first 8 questions. They're all about just making sure you can change your percentage to a decimal. 16% to a decimal, 14.5% to a decimal, and we know we just divide by 100. If we look at question 9 here, it starts off with our little lightning bolt man. And whenever you see the little lightning bolt man, he's got instructions there. So simple interest is found using the formula, find the interest. So we have an example here. It says find the interest earned if P, our principal, is $950, our rate was 8% per annum, and our time period was 5 years. So you can see they've got those things listed. They've changed their 8% to a decimal. And then they've written the formula, substituted the numbers in. That is what gets typed on our calculator, and then we get our answer at the end. The rest of this first worksheet is asking you to do just that process over again. Identify the information, write the formula, sub it in, put it on your second worksheet. The second page talks about finding the total, like I did in part B in that question. Get my principal, add my interest to it. Again, you've got your little lightning man at the top of each column. That is going to tell you give you instructions on how to complete that column. This first column on the second worksheet, it tells you the principal, it tells you the interest, you just got to add them together. The second column you can see in blue, and the third column again is you now need to find the simple interest before being able to add the totals. The third worksheet, same again. It's all about finding simple interest, but there's a bit more to it now. There's a bit of word problems. We're putting them into some real life context. For argument's sake, that middle question there, Olivia has $13,600 to invest. She has 2 options to pick from. Well, go through and figure out how much interest she earns from option 1, how much interest she earns from option 2. And by the looks of it, question 9, bank 1 gives her more interest. How much extra interest was that? And you're starting to make decisions on, well, which would be the best option for us. The final worksheet that you're going to do is asking you to convert different time periods to years. So 25 weeks, well, we'll use this example here. 13 weeks, to make it 1 year, I'm just writing it as 13 over 52. To make months into years, my denominator is just becoming 12. And if we have a look over here, here's something handy for you guys to remember. To convert to years, whatever days I give you, divide it by 365. Whatever weeks, divide by 52. And whatever months, you're going to divide by 12. You have to use that in this second worksheet. Now, this second worksheet doesn't run through an example for you, but I might just do this one here for you. So question 6, we're going to convert our interest rate to a decimal. So if we start off, our interest rate is R is 8. If we divide that to a decimal, we get 0.08. Our principal is 1,040. Our interest rate is 0.08. And usually right now we would times or multiply by the years, but we don't have years. What we have is 9 weeks. So I'm going to convert that to a fraction of a year. 9 out of 52. And that is what you type on your calculator to get your answer. The rest of the worksheet just follows those patterns again. All right. Work through those worksheets, get them completed for homework. I need to have them done by next Thursday so we can talk about our next part of interest. Thanks very much, Year 9.